we have like Jean Pascal, Adonis, them that did their thing, but I think it's right now we just need a couple more, and I think I can hopefully be one of them.
And what do you hope that people who have not seen you fight walk away from your fight thinking about you after a Saturday night?
Just to see that you know what we didn't know too much about him at first, but I was very happy that they get to see me now, and then hopefully they just walk away and just say, you know what, I think that this guy can fight. I think that he do belong to get a chance with some of the top names.
And if you win this fight and you are in position, of course, to fight the Garcia Spence winner, what would that mean to you to get that magnitude of a fight eventually?
I think that for any fighter, I mean, getting that type of a fight is something that you prepare for your whole life. So I mean, at the same time, I mean, you always take it one step at a time. But it'll be great. It'll be a great moment and something that you would prepare for just like every other fight.
Thanks, Custio.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Keith. Let's go to Matthew Boulay from the Journal newspaper in Montreal. Matthew, you'll have to unmute to ask your question.
Hi, Custio.
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for your time. I just want to know, did you have some times to have specific sparring for that fight? Because you know all the restriction with the borders and in Quebec and in Ontario. Did you have some times to have specific sparring for the Lipinets?
I wouldn't say specific, but we had type of guy that was similar in height and at least could match up pretty well. But I wouldn't say specific, but I think we had for what we had the right sparring partners.
Do you think it's kind of ironic because with the last two promoters, Jim and Eye of Tiger Management, didn't work out with you and didn't have the opportunities to go to the World Championship fight like this? Do you think it's kind of Christmas before the time for you, Custio, with that fight?
I didn't really understand the question really.
It's about to know if how you embrace that opportunity to have a championship fight.
Oh, like I said, I've worked this year. Worked very hard for this opportunity, and this is something that I've been trying to push for the past period 2 years. And like I said, I'm just happy that it actually came to light now, and I'm very prepared for it. So I'm ready for it.
Thank you, Custio.
Thank you.
Thank you, Castillo. And thank you, Matthew. Let's try Francis Paquin. Francis, unmute. You can ask your question.
Hi, so nice to talk to you. It's been a while. What convinced you to accept this fight as a short delay like this?
I was already in the gym preparing for a fight. So, I mean, at the same time, I was ready to get in the ring anyway. So, I mean, at the same time, when I got the call saying that I'm interested in taking the fight, I mean, at the same time, how do you say no to a fight like that? I feel that I'm ready. Been ready for a couple of years now, and like I said, under the circumstances, I think it was my time to come and accept the fight.
And last question, you don't have experience like Mike Garcia, Lipinets fighting. How would you handle this fight?
Well, I have a lot of experience. I mean, I've been an amateur for a while. I went represented Canada in the Olympics and everything. So I traveled, fought other world champions as an amateur. I know it's not pro, but at the same time, I think that's what prepared me for a fight like this. Is all the experience I had as an amateur.
Thank you, Custio. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Castillo, I'll ask you to expand on that. Do you think your experience as an amateur boxer can help you at this level? You turned pro, correct me if I'm wrong, at 27, relatively late stage. So perhaps you're more fresh at the age you are now than another fighter of equivalent age, but yet you have all this amateur experience. How does that translate for you on Saturday night?
Well, I think it translated good. I mean, like I said, you get fighters that do turn pro a lot early. I did start at 27, but at the time, I think that was my time to start. I didn't rush nothing. Things came into place the way they did. And I just feel that like I said, going pro when I did, having staying back amateur a bit, just developing a little more, prepared me for fights like this. I've seen a lot of other fighters, seen these type of styles. So I mean, I think that I'll be well prepared for Saturday.
Okay, great. And we have no more questions in queue, but I'll just ask, the stage of your career, the stage of your life you're at, what this opportunity means. I know you came from a part of Canada that was certainly lower income, and I know there is some higher crime in the area of Nova Scotia that you come from, and now you live in Ottawa. Tell us about what this opportunity can represent for you long term.
Represent a lot. I mean, like I said, just show that all the work that you do from being back from Nova Scotia, it just shows that, like I said, I mean, you can take another route, pursue your dream and chase it. This right here is something that'll mean a lot to me, and I think Nova Scotia. So I mean, like I said, it's a great feeling, a great opportunity, and I'm thankful for it.
Well, as I said, we're grateful that you were ready, on call, and you took the call when it came. So we have intact a terrific main event for Saturday night. I want to thank you for taking the time. Good luck getting through the weigh-in, and we will see you then.
Thank you.
To the press, please stay tuned. We'll have 3 more fighters. Malik Hawkins will be next. And also to the press, we're running a little bit ahead of schedule, but we're endeavoring to get the press to come, to get the fighters to come down a little bit in advance, so we won't have to wait till the 2 o'clock hour for Malik, we hope. Stay tuned. We'll keep you updated. Shouldn't be long. Okay, Malik. Chris de Blasio here from Showtime. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Ready for a 10-round super lightweight bout against Subriel Matias. Tough opponent. Definitely a step up for you.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah, so you're on live right now with some members of the press. I'm going to ask them to punch in on the raise hand function on the Zoom if they want to get in queue to ask questions of Malik. I'm going to start here just as soon as this distraction noise on the outside here. Okay, Malik, so you're 18-0, you're undefeated. You had some excellent preparation for this camp, as far as I'm told. Tell us a little bit about your preparation through COVID-19. I know it's been different for everybody, and how you're feeling headed into Saturday night.
Well, I'm feeling great, going into Saturday night. I had a tremendous training camp. I was getting in, different type of sparring, with likes of Terence Crawford, Jerron Boots Ennis, Maurice Hooker, Jamel Hearn. I went and got different looks, so now I know come Saturday night, I'm prepared for any type of look he willing to bring.
That's fantastic. That sounds like a strong camp. And obviously, you might have been on the books to fight in the spring or early summer. Has the pandemic changed your program? Obviously, it's changed your training schedule, but you feel it affect you physically on Saturday?
No, not really. It didn't really affect me, physically and this and that. It more affected, my mental, because I was set, ready to fight in the summer, things of that nature. But that's when the pandemic hit. So I mean, can't cry over spilled milk.
Understood. All right, let's go to Jeremy Herridges, fan-sided. Jeremy, go ahead.
Hey, Malik, thank you for taking the time to talk. I'm curious if, did you watch Subriel's last fight? Did you study it all? And, what did you think about his first loss to Petros Ananyan?
Yeah, we definitely watched his last fight. And what I seen, is that, he's everyone looks at, his record, him being 15, because prior to that fight, he was 15-0 with 15 knockouts and this, that, and third. Well, what I seen was that when you actually fight him back, he's just a B-class fight, B or C-class fighter for real.
I know that his original promoter after the fight tried to excuse it as he didn't take it seriously, he didn't train. Do you view that as an excuse, or do you think we really saw the type of fighter he was right there in that fight?
Yeah, I really think that's the type of fighter he really is. Is that, like, if you know you're going into a fight, I don't like how I train. It don't matter if the person not gonna be fighting could be 0-20. I'm still going to treat it like he's 20-0.
You're a very big junior welterweight, and I mean you have numerous inches over him. Do you think that you're going to be able to overpower him in this fight? Of
course. One thing I do know, he's going to try to come in there, try to bully me and things of that nature. But that's what I grew up doing, and I'm not going to sit there and let him, beat me at my own game.
Final question for me. He's got an impressive KO rating of like 94%. Do you think he's really got great power, or do you think that's a byproduct of maybe some weaknesses in his resume?
I mean, I really don't pay attention, to someone's knockout ratio or things of that nature. Yeah, so what he got 15 knockouts, 15 fights, and this and that and third. Them knockouts didn't come against no one that fights like me.
I hear you. Malik, best of luck, and look forward to watching you fight.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. Let's go to Keith Eidick.
Hey, Malik, you obviously couldn't have gotten better sparring than you got for this fight. That's an impressive list, of course. So did you go I think you mentioned to me yesterday you were in Philadelphia and then in in Maryland. You went to Omaha also to spar with Terrence.
Yes, sir.
How many times did you guys spar together?
We sparred about 3 or 4 times. The first time he just wanted, to see if what I was capable of doing. And then, the last couple times that I sparred with him, he was just mainly more so with him teaching me, how to, throw punches at different angles, and him teaching me how to get out of certain situations.
How recently were those sparring sessions with Terrence?
That was early. I want to say about June or July.
Okay, so it was okay. And how recently with Boots when you were in Philadelphia sparring with him?
I want to say about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Okay. And just overall, what do you think this fight, Malik, can do for you in terms of moving you forward in the direction you want to go?
When with this fight, a victory in this fight, it leads me on to bigger and better opportunities. It takes me one step closer to that world title shot.
Great. Thanks for your time, Malik.
Thank you.
All right, Malik. So tell us a little bit more, belabor the point, but I know you had you had a brush close to the family with the COVID-19 during the pandemic. Tell us about your mom. How's she doing now, and what was the experience like for her? I know it wasn't easy.
Well, my mother, she doing great. She doing great. She recovered from COVID-19, and when she had it, I've never ever seen my mother, look as terrible as she did. Actually, the night that I took her to the hospital, it was probably one of the worst nights that I ever seen her being sick ever in my life, because she was in her bed and she was shaking, and she just said she couldn't take it no more. So I just decided, I got up, made her put some clothes on, and I drove her to the hospital.
And I understand she spent about 2 weeks in hospital.
Yeah, she spent 2.5 weeks.
So she's a fighter for sure. She's home now and fully healthy.
Yeah, yes, sir. They don't call her Ice Mom for nothing.
Well, that's great. We're really glad to hear that. And looking forward to, obviously a big night for you and your career on Saturday night. You have something else coming up special in your life, I understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that.
November 26th, I have my firstborn son.
Terrific. Congratulations. Yeah. Due to have your first baby boy, November 26th. That's great. Exciting time for you. You got a friend, a stable mate, so to speak, a gym mate since you guys were boys, Tank Davis. I assume he's going to be watching the fight on Saturday night?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Will he give you a rating? You guys will speak after the bout, do you expect?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. We always do that.
Right. And I'm sure you'll be watching then on Halloween night for him. You typically train with Coach Calvin Ford. Is it an instance where Calvin had to be in Las Vegas with Tank, and that's why you're with Kenny Ellis for this particular?
Well, no, actually, Kenny Ellis, he's always been my head trainer. It's just that, well, I just don't look at, neither him or Calvin, as head trainer. I look at them, both of them my head trainer. They co-train me.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't have any other questions from the press in queue at this time, so I think we're going to let you go. Continue to prep for the weigh-in and for the fight on Saturday. Appreciate your time.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Malik, good luck.
Yes, sir.
Okay, to the press, we'll take another short break. Back with Xavier Martinez shortly. Xavier, welcome. Just waiting for your microphone to be unmuted. There we are. Okay, folks, joining us now, undefeated Xavier Martinez from Sacramento, California. Xavier, looking forward to your fight on Saturday night. I think it's widely recognized as a step-up fight for you, one that can help advance your career. Tell us a little bit about how you're coming off an injury to your hamstring. And as I mentioned, you have a tough opponent in front of you. Tell us about your preparations for Saturday and how you feel the fight will go.
I'm all healed up now. I've been healed up for a while. I've actually been in camp since July. The reason being because I thought I was going to fight in August, but, it changed. So we just stayed in camp. So I had a very long camp, and I'm more than ready for, Saturday night. I don't, I'm not going to chase no knockout, but, my plan is to get him out within 7. But if it doesn't go that route, I already know, I'm going to win no matter what.
That's terrific. All right, you're going to face Claudio Marrero for an eliminator bout at super featherweight. So let's go to press questions. Our first comes from Keith Idek, boxingscene.com. Keith, go ahead.
Hey, Xavier, I was just wondering, how much of a step up do you feel this is against Marrero in the sense that he's fought a lot of high-level featherweights? Of course, he's not now in a different weight class, but how much of a step up do you feel it is?
I feel like it's a big step up, I get an opportunity to, to show my skills against, someone who has experience. But, just because he has more experience than me doesn't mean he's better than me. I'm very excited to, fight. I haven't fought in a while, but like I said, I've been in camp for a long time, and all my preparation, it went very well. So Saturday night, you guys are going to be in for a treat.
Xavier, what was it like for you to have the fight postponed for 2 weeks? Because of course you're, weight-wise, you're peaking at certain times and everything. How much of a disruption was that for you?
It wasn't too much of a disruption. I was, a little upset about it, but then, you just got to take everything in stride. And, I just had to look at it as like, I get 2 more weeks, of more preparation. When it got postponed, I was actually able to eat, a couple of nice meals and then get right back onto my diet. So, I was actually happy to eat.
I'm sure. I know you mentioned inside of 7. I'm assuming that's a specific thing because he has not been knocked out before 7 before, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen he's been stopped, but like I said, like I'm not looking for a knockout. My plan is to go in there and overwhelm him with combinations and stay on him.
And where do you view a fight like this taking you in terms of where you want to be in 2021?
After this fight, I hope to be able to get a world title in my next fight, or after if they have another one for me, and then fight for the world title. So within 2 fights.
Thanks, Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier, I know you said you're not looking for the knockout, but you do have impressive wins. You've stolen the show on Showtime before. As Keith mentioned, this is a step up in class. How do you plan to fight Marrero? Obviously without giving away too much of your strategy to him, and he may be listening here, but
yeah,
how can you beat him? What's the game plan?
The game plan is go in there and beat me. Adjust to whatever he does. Make the adjustments I need to make and go in there and execute the game plan that my coach Ray has in store for me.
Okay, so if you have success on Saturday night, what would you look ahead to? Obviously your next fight is being an eliminator. So tell us about that opportunity.
I hope to fight for a world title by next year. That's the main goal. The goal is to get to that world title. And, Marrero standing in front of it, and I got to knock him out the way.
Great. We don't have any more questions in queue. So, but before we let you go, I want to know, what you've been doing to occupy yourself during the sort of quarantine pandemic. Other than training, dieting, preparing for the fight, how have you been occupying your time?
I've actually just been, studying stocks. I day trade now. I developed, I started learning it, when the pandemic hit, and I actually made me money, these past 2 days. So I just been making money and studying.
You've enjoyed learning the markets and day trading.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think aside from boxing, this is one of the main things I focus on too now.
Well, when we see you on Saturday night, you'll have to give us some stock tips.
Oh yeah, I'll give you guys a little something.
All right. Well, look, I don't think we have any other questions in queue at this point, so we're going to let you go. Continue to prepare, and we thank you for this time.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good luck to you tomorrow, and we'll see you Saturday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, one more fighter to go. Our main event, Sergey Lipinets, will be with us shortly. Take a short break. Message to the press: we should have Sergey down. I'll say about 5 more minutes. As usual, use the raise hand function to ask questions of our main event. It's a welterweight interim title for the potential to fight the winner of Errol Spence, Danny Garcia fight, which is coming up in early December. Thanks for being on, and thanks for your patience between fighters. Good afternoon, Sergey. Colin, you can unmute us there. That'd be great. Good afternoon, Sergey. Can you hear me? Alex, can you hear me?
Okay. I mean, I don't mind. Okay. How unfortunate.
Good afternoon, guys. Alex, Sergey, Joe, can you hear me?
We've been laying in bed next to each other for the past 2 days.
Okay, guys, we're ready to get started here. Joe and Sergey, can you hear me? Jason, any reason why we lost the audio to Mohegan here? There doesn't seem that they're hearing me.
Thanks, got.
Things good. Thanks for jumping on.
Sergey, Joe, can you guys hear me?
That was fine.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Yes.
Joe,
I had a good time.
you here?
Let me turn off my.
Mr. Goosen, good afternoon. Welcome.
Well, who am I speaking to?
This is Chris de Blasio from Showtime.
Hey, Chris.
How you doing, man?
Doing great.
All
Thank
right,
you.
we're on with some of our friends and colleagues in the press
Right.
on this Zoom call. Sergey, welcome. Good afternoon to both of you guys. I believe Alex is also here to help us out, correct?
Yeah. If I can't interpret the, I'll defer to Al.
Yeah, well, I'm a voiceover.
Okay. Alex Vasefeld, friend to many in the boxing industry, also joining us to help us. So Sergey, welcome. We are finally here after a long time coming.
Hello and thank you. Thank you very much.
Great. Tell us about your preparations. This fight has been on again, off again. The interim title is on the line. You're looking forward to an opportunity to win and get another shot at a world title. On again, off again. Your original opponent has fallen out. How are you feeling about all of the preparations you've done so far and your anticipation for Saturday night?
Ну, я чувствую себя отлично. Они меняли мне то левого левша, то правша, то будет, то не будет, то за титул, то нет. Но мы ко всему готовились, все планы ABC предпринимали, совсем спринговали, так что все отлично.
Well, I feel great. The main part of this whole thing was that we stayed in the gym. We never changed our routine. Joe kept us working every day of the week, and there were different opponents thrown in the air for us, and we were more or less getting ready for each one of them, and we had different strategies, different sparring partners, so everything went as planned.
So you were preparing for the eventuality of Custio Clayton. He's not a surprise to you. He wasn't surprised, he told us earlier, by the opportunity. He sort of had hoped it was coming. He was on standby. Did you also have information and prepare for him specifically in addition to Abdu Kakarov, your original opponent?
Что говорит?
Говоришь, Клейтон, когда ты узнал о Клейтоне и как ты успел ты подготовиться именно к нему, потому что он не был...
Ну мы знали заранее, за месяц примерно, что будет Клейтон, и что, возможно, его поставят за место. Если Абдукакуров не успеет сделать визу, поэтому то, что он будет, точно ждали за неделю, поэтому мы знали плюс-минус.
Well, Clayton's name was thrown up in the air for us probably about a month ago.
Yeah.
We never actually looked into him. It was just a possibility. Only Joe did his due diligence and he looked at the guy, but we weren't actually like concentrating on what he was bringing in the ring. And then about a week prior to the fight, we finally got it solidified, and it was actually, there was an affirmation that we are fighting, in fact, Clayton. So what the thing is that, like I said, the different sparring partners that we had, Joe making me do different things in the ring. It's more or less whole alphabet thing that we're getting ready for. So we got a couple of nice different plans for the fight.
Okay. Thank you both. Let's ask you, Joe. Joe, you've been with Sergey now for about a year and a half. Tell us what improvements you think you've made. What you felt you had with Sergey when he first came to you, and what stage you're at now.
Well, we've come a long way. Sergey. Sergey's a quick learner. I would say if you start with the Lamont Peterson fight, that was kind of we had several months, maybe 6 months together before that fight, 5 or 6 months. So I was at least able to implement what I thought was the style that was befitting his physicality and his instincts. And that served us well in the Lamont Peterson fight. Then we were going to fight Molina, and we had a different strategy for Molina than we did Peterson. So we had to implement different training techniques in the gym and strategies. And that would have meant that we were employing more athleticism, more boxing skills, because we were going to fight a pressure fighter like Molina, and it would probably have been smarter to box him as opposed to putting pressure on Peterson. So two different styles that you have to teach. And again, he took to it like a cat to milk. So it was pretty good. But then at the last second, Molina got changed, and we ended up with a 5'11" southpaw, basically 24 hours before the fight. So again, there's not much you can do. You can just give a little bit of a verbal crash course about what we want to do with the southpaw. It turned out pretty good. We knocked them out in 2. And so for this fight here, Kokorov is a completely different style. He's a right-hander. He's a left-hander. He moves. He's athletic. So, then you have to prepare for that type of guy. So you have to, bring in a little left-handed sparring. You have to do a lot of right-handed sparring. And then it changed to maybe we're going to fight just a pure southpaw, which was, I forget the kid's name. Van Herring. Yeah, Van Herring. And so that whole idea lasted just a few days. So then that was taken off the table. Then it was back to Kokorov. It was pretty wild. But in essence, though, it gave us an opportunity to work on a lot of different things in the gym. So as opposed to being focused on one style for Kokorov, you have to push the envelope a little bit athletically to be able to deal with southpaw sparring and then go back to right-handed sparring. Then it's a pressure game plan. Then it's not a pressure game plan. So, because we had to go with the flow there, we actually covered a lot of bases. And ultimately, with Clayton, that fit into our pressure game that we were going to employ against Abdul Kokorov. So, thank God it all worked out okay. I know it was a little convoluted, a little long, but that's it as best as I can explain it to you.
No, I appreciate that, the detail, Joe. I think that's part of it. This has been a long time coming, and I think that's why we are certainly looking forward to it at Showtime, and I expect that the fans are too. Sergey, can you comment on your ability to adapt to these styles? Is that something that can set you apart? I mean, there are some fighters who they can't change their style as readily. Speak to that, your ability or your willingness to to change a game plan or to change your style in the ring for each opponent?
Можешь рассказать, как ты можешь, как ты смог пристроиться, чтобы менять стиль под этого боксера, свой стиль менять? Тебе вот не тяжело было, потому что многим боксерам не так просто поменять стиль.
Ну, я думаю, что мы не меняли стиль, а Джо дополняет именно мой стиль. Это и есть мой стиль боя, где я работаю, я умею работать и двигаясь на ногах, и в атакующей манере. Поэтому Джо просто добавил некоторые плюсы к моей работе, и из-за этого я стал лучше драться, боксировать. Поэтому это намного стало красивее, и удар усилился у меня благодаря Джо.
Well, it's not as much as me changing that. My fighting style is it's Joe, putting missing pieces together and adding up to what I already had, despite what other people think about my fighting style. I actually could box, and I could use my legs around the ring, and I could set the traps around the ring, and I'm pretty good on my feet. But Joe added elements to it where it became fluent and nonstop, and that's why I believe that is going to be looking way more number one, watchable, and it attracts the eye the way I'm going to be fighting under Joe's tutelage.
That's terrific. Okay, great. Let's take a question here. Jeremy Herridges from fansided.com. Jeremy, go ahead.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Sergey. This question is actually probably more for Joe. Joe, as far as the growth that you've seen in Sergey from his single loss to Mikey Garcia to now, what are some of the things that you've seen in him? Maybe 2 or 3 things that he's most improved upon and how he's changed as a fighter.
I would say his defense, number one, has been, really improved upon. Not that he didn't have a good defense. He had a fairly good defense. I just thought he did certain things that may have left him a little vulnerable, like with Mikey in that fight that kind of, exposed a few things. But, bottom line is that I pretty much try to cover, everything from head movement to foot movement to, the right placement of where your arms and hands are. I'm pretty old school, when it comes to defensive tactics. Before we even start our workouts, we do probably 15 rounds on just slipping, parrying, and weaving, bobbing and weaving. Literally 15 rounds before we even finish the last, 25, 30 rounds of bag work, mitts, cushion, forget about sparring. So, but I would say his overall output offensively, we've worked on throwing a lot more punches, tightening up his delivery system, so it's a lot shorter, especially when you're in close. Keeping the hands up a lot better when the time calls for it. I would just say, it's not brain surgery. It's just all the right stuff that you see all the good guys do, and you try to do a conglomerate of all of it, defensive, offensively. And then, you hope most of it sticks. And then you try to, whatever you do on the floor, you try to bring in a sparring and see how he's executing it. And I got to tell you, we had probably close to 200 rounds of sparring, which is an inordinate amount of sparring, but we had an inordinate amount of time to train. It was really, we were training for a long time. In fact, when he did go back to Russia for about a month, probably 6-7 months ago, he was videotaping all of his workouts and sending them to me. He was making makeshift weave bags and makeshift ring. It was pretty. I was pretty happy about all of that. And so when he came back to California and we started training, we've been in training for, literally for probably 7-8 months straight. And so we covered a lot of bases. But I would say, to go back to your original question, we've worked a lot on just your rudimentary fundamental defensive, hands up, elbows in, chin tucked, and you try to maintain that for 12 rounds and not let that start, falling apart as the rounds go by. And then offensively, throwing in combinations of variety of punches, a voluminous amount of punches, and a lot of pressure. And that means moving fast, feet forward, and to meet your opponent, unless he is willing to meet you in the center of the ring. So basically those things, and everything that comes along with it. A lot of work, though. I have to tell you, you can't do what I want to do with a fighter unless you've got a compliant, partner. And Sergey is old school that way, and I really want to emphasize the old school. He will do whatever you ask him to do in the gym if it makes sense to him. And thankfully, he must think I make a little sense, but because he never questions it. But no, he's great to work with. He's one of a kind in that respect.
This question can maybe go to both of you, maybe starting with you, Joe. As far as mentally preparing for an opponent on short notice with Custio, how do you handle the mental part of preparation, video work? Do you watch it together? Do you each watch it? Who comes up with the game plan?
Well, just to be perfectly honest with you, we've each watched a few rounds of, Custio. He's, what you see is what you get in every fight with him. So you can watch 2 rounds of one fight and 2 rounds of another fight, and you're going to see the same guy. So basically, there's not a lot of time since we just got notice of this probably Friday. We ended up here Tuesday. So, we had the weekend. It's not like you can call in and say, hey, we need a guy that fights exactly like this guy, and we can work with them 2 weeks. You just got to go back to what you were doing on your pressure game and then say, okay, here's how it's going to apply to this guy that we're fighting now. So there's not a lot of time to game plan it. It's just kind of an overview that we've got right now. And here's what we got to watch out for. And here's a few things that we got to do with him. So we've kind of whittled this down to just a few basic talking points about our opponent and about what we have to do. And it's really, at this point, you can't get too into the weeds with this because it's just, you didn't have enough time. So it's a generalized strategy that will make sense to him, because no matter who we're fighting at this point, we can just say, here's what we need to do. If I say pressure, but we got to watch out for these 2 punches that he really throws well. That's about it. You don't have a lot of time to get into too much depth here. Just to take a cursory view of what you've got in front of you and then deal with it on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. And Sergey, I'd like to hear, Sergey, based on what you've seen of Custio, Sergey, what do you think about Custio as a fighter, and how do you evaluate him and his skills?
Custio смотрел, что бы ты мог сказать о нем, о его способностях боксировать?
Он хороший боксер, у него хорошая любительская карьера, он входил в олимпийскую сборную Канады, и у него отличный послужный список, 18 боев, 12 нокаутов. Очень видно, что он с хорошим ударом, с поставленной техникой, поэтому отличный боец, и я думаю, что наши стили похожи, он идет вперед и бьет сильно, и я тоже могу идти вперед и бить, поэтому считаю, что у нас получится отличный бой, и мы порадуем своих фанатов.
He's definitely a great fighter. I mean, he was an Olympian for Canada. He made it all the way out there. That says a lot. He's got 18 fights, 12 knockouts, I believe. That means that he can crack and he can punch a little bit. Then it makes him twice as dangerous at that point. And stylistically, I believe that we real comparable. He comes forward, try to fight you. I come forward, try to fight you. He can punch. I believe I can punch. So it's going to be very entertaining, I believe. That's a good match.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we'll give just another moment here. If any press have any more questions for Sergey or for Joe or for Alex, please punch in. Going once. We have one coming in now from Crystal Hart. Crystal, go ahead, unmute your line and you can ask your question. Thanks for jumping in. Crystal, if you can hear me, press you should be able to see the opportunity to unmute your line and ask your question.
Did it unmute now?
We have you now. Thank you, Crystal.
Okay. When Chris de Blasio announced his fight, he said that the winner could possibly face Danny Garcia, the winner of Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence Jr. How does this make you feel? Does it give you more encouragement? And also, how do you see those two fighters? How do you feel that fight will pan out?
Are you asking Sergey?
Yes.
Okay. Как ты смотришь, вот было сказано, что победитель вашего боя будет драться с победителем Гарсия и Спенс. Как ты думаешь, как это, ты готов к такому, если ты выиграешь?
Ну, во-первых, нужно выиграть. Я не хочу смотреть за спину сопернику. Сначала нам нужно провести этот бой, а потом уже думать, с кем драться и какие будут предложения. И, конечно же, я рад любым боям. Но для начала нам нужно выиграть этот бой.
Well, I don't look past that fight. I mean, I gotta win that fight. That's what I'm focused on right now. But yes, I do believe that I belong to that crop of fighters. I believe that this is something that I could do, and I proved it. I believe it was my whole career that I'm up to the challenge. But before that, I'm even considering and looking at all that, I gotta win that fight on Saturday.
Thank you.
Okay, Crystal, thank you. And I want to thank the press for joining us. Sergey, Joe, Alex, thanks for taking the time. Good luck headed to the weigh-in tomorrow, and we will see you on Saturday.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
All right.
Okay, guys, good luck.
All right.